Joe Biden's Afghanistan debacle just keeps getting worse, and the last time his administration testified before Congress, they called the withdrawal a strategic failure. Now that failure is apparently opening doors for ISIS-K and al-Qaeda to attack the United States. Yesterday, DoD Undersecretary for Policy Colin Kahl explained the increasing threat.
The current intelligence community's assessment is that ISIS-K could potentially develop a capability within 6 to 12 months, and that al-Qaeda could potentially develop that capability within 1 to 2 years. But it's precisely that threat that we need to remain vigilant and disrupt.
This morning, Attorney General Merrick Garland seemed to be at a loss as what may have been behind the increased risk assessment.
Al-Qaeda has always presented and continues to present a persistent threat to the United States homeland.
Well, no, but the question is, what's changed? You say always. Has any recent event changed the likelihood of an attack?
I don't know.
You don't know that we withdrew from Afghanistan?
I know we withdrew. I don't know whether the withdrawal will increase the risk from al-Qaeda or not.
Well, I'd like to welcome in my panel the CEO of the Afghanistan-America Relations Office and former military interpreter in Afghanistan, Saber Nasseri, and retired Navy SEAL and author of the book, The Operator, Rob O'Neill. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you, Jen.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, you know, you both have firsthand experience with the evil inflicted by terrorists. And Saber, I'd like to start with you. You know, on August 31st, President Biden declared the Afghan withdrawal an extraordinary success. The administration then sought to move forward and forget about those that were left behind and overlook what we now realize as a renewed threat of terror here in America. But for those who don't know your story, tell us your experience with the Taliban, what they have done to American allies like yourself.
Thank you so much for having me, and good evening. Especially, I want to say hello to the Navy SEAL soldier, and I respect all that. I have worked for Navy SEAL from 2005 and 6, and Kunar province that I lost our team, and they made a lone survivor movie. You might watch that. I support that team in Afghanistan, and also Special Forces and Marine Corps. We call ODA. Yes, my name is Saber, and I have served 11 years for U.S. Marine Corps and Special Forces ODA. In the front line, the Taliban, they put the $300,000 bounty on my head. They tortured me, and they tried to arrest me and kill me. But unfortunately, they cut my fingers off. They shot me. But I still supporting and sacrificing for U.S. government. My half family, they still in Afghanistan. My other half, they are in Abu Dhabi in a base. They evacuate by civilian airplanes. And it has been like 2.5 months, 3 months, almost 3 months. They didn't issue U.S. Embassy and State Department didn't issue my visa for my family. Even they have SIV cases, and they approved. But yes, like me, there's a lot of American allies still left behind. And the majority of eligible immigrants are forgotten. The Taliban supporters have migrated among these immigrants right now, and immigrants who were eligible for a special immigration visa and whose lives were in a real danger were not transferred or evacuated by a State Department. That's right.
And countless Americans left behind, obviously, at the mercy of the Taliban. And Robert, I want to go to you. You know, we played that exchange between Senator Lindsey Graham and Merrick Garland. Garland unable to provide an answer as to whether our reckless withdrawal increased the risk of terror at the hands of al-Qaeda. What are your thoughts about that?
A.G. Garland really didn't sound like he knew what he was talking about at all. I mean, he was barely aware, it seemed, that we had left Afghanistan. But he's one of those guys that they're so worried about social experimentation and what gender someone should be on their passport. And, you know, they'll say, well, we must use vigilant when it comes to al-Qaeda and ISIS, but they don't even acknowledge that we have a wide open border, that we're flying people into this country that haven't been vetted. We just had a woman in Missoula, Montana, my home state of Montana, that was raped by someone that was unvetted that flew there, got all the way to Montana. That tells you they can get anywhere through the southern border. The next time they come here, it probably won't be 2 years, and it won't be flying planes into buildings. They're going to cross the border. They're going to send martyrs into elementary schools, and they're going to hit us where it really hurts. But we're not paying attention to anything. We're not allowed to tell the truth about anything. We worry about stuff that should be worried about, and the fact that we have a four-star transgender, a four-gender admiral, or whatever they're doing. They're not taking anything serious. Saber, good to see you too, and he's seen it. He's seen it close up. These are vicious people, and they haven't forgotten about us. We have the clocks, but they have the time.
Yeah. Well, Saber, I want to ask you about the refugees as well. You know, the U.S. has resettled almost 100,000 Afghan refugees here in America. They're facing a pretty tough assimilation process. You know, we've learned that the vetting process has been rushed and minimal at best, and there's been claims of criminality among some of them. Do you have any concerns as to who has been let into the country and their intentions?
Thank you. Yes, I'm a U.S. citizen, and first of all, I'm worried about all Americans that I sacrificed. My blood is here, and my family from here. I supposed to, and I have to protect the Constitution of the United States and the country as well. But yes, the majority of, as I mentioned before, 3 months ago, I mentioned to the State Department through TVs that please be careful for transferring the people from Afghanistan. Majority of the jailers that who released by Taliban, we call Pulacharhi jail, they joined and they came to this trap, and also a lot of Taliban supporters and Taliban members that they came. And I'm kindly requesting and asking from FBI and CI. We have team Afghanistan-America Relation Office is in your service to protect the United States. But one thing I want to add, no worries, be cautious. We are here. I will sacrifice more. We all together, Afghan-American, they promise us that we will work together to save the United States.
And Rob, I want to ask you about what the administration has touted, that over-the-horizon capability. You know, our nearest facilities are 1,500 miles away. We don't have bases in any neighboring countries. What are your thoughts about our ability to protect ourselves currently as far as the threat from Afghanistan?
Well, I mean, it's zero. They've got Taliban going to Moscow to meet with the Russians. They're meeting with Pakistan. The other stands Iran. People in the area to make sure NATO doesn't come back in there again. All of a sudden, like Russia and Pakistan give a rip about Afghanistan, which they don't. We need over the horizon is some of the catchphrases you're going to hear. Turn the page, crap like that. By the time a drone gets over there, you need human intelligence on the ground, which you don't have. By the time a drone gets there, about 3/4 of it's almost bingo and fuel, almost out. It's needless, but they just realize the 24-hour news cycle, no one's going to remember this stuff, and they can do whatever they want, and then they can go back to their social experimentation in this country until we get hit again, because the only thing we're really good at nowadays is never forgetting to never forget.
Well, Rob O'Neill and Saber Nasseri, thank you both for being here tonight, and thank you so much for your service to us here in America.
Thank you for having me, and God bless you guys. Thank you.
And you as well.